How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the third episode of Subscriber Showdown. I know it's been quite a long time in between episodes, but finally I'm back. This is the series where you guys send in pictures and videos of your cars, I do a little review of them, go over the stuff that you've done to those cars, and then give my opinion on them. There is a poll in the iCard on whichever side of the video it is, which you guys can vote for your favourite of the 5 cars in this video. The winner of that does receive a small prize when the next episode comes out. Unfortunately, I've taken a really long time to organise those prizes, but they are window stickers that look kind of like this. This is one that I made earlier, look. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if it's focusing. It might be. Who knows? So yeah, it will look something like that. I've already ordered them. They just haven't arrived at my house yet. So once they have arrived, they'll be sent off. First of all to Stephen, who won the first episode with the VW Polo 9N that was turned into a WRC looking car. And then last time's winner, which was Matt with the RS6 Kale Surprise. A couple of days after this video goes live, there will be an example in the description of what you guys should do if you want to get your car onto this series. But the instructions will be down there anyway. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell because that will really help out the channel as well and let you know when my videos are going live. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So let's start this episode off with a BMW 650i from 2007 sent in by Julian. It's actually his dad's car. It puts out 362 brake horsepower from a 4.8 litre V8. That's the N62 engine for those of you that are interested. And it also puts out 490 newton meters of torque. That's just insane. Only 30 newton meters less than the M6 of the same generation. As you can see from these pictures, it's got spacers all around, as well as having that massive custom straight pipe exhaust coming out with the dual rear exits. I bet it sounds absolutely amazing. I wish you sent me a video. The plans for the future are to lower it, put an aftermarket air intake on it, and put some new wheels onto it. Although I personally actually really quite like those diamond cut rims. It doesn't look like you've quite gone for the murdered out look. It looks instead like you've had a little bit of class attached to it, and I really like it as an overall. But I can definitely see the allure of maybe some BBSs or something like that to go on there to look even cooler. Outside of that, they're planning to tune it a bit, but ultimately keep it as fresh and as clean looking as possible. Oh, and don't forget the fact that it's got a private number plate on it, which I think is really nice too. Now, I'm a massive fan of these, and I've had a few family members that have had them, and yeah, they are very, very nice cars, super luxurious, and a really great baseline for a little bit of modification. I'm definitely with you on the clean look. I think these cars look a lot better when they're clean and OEM-ish looking, and to that point, an expensive but potentially cool modification might be to change the color of the roof. That roof can go all sorts of different colors, and I think it would look really cool if you did do that. Really depends if you can find a color that can be picked out from the rest of the car. Speaking of that, I think the rear tail lights are a bit too bright for the rest of the car. And now I'm actually not a massive fan of tinting headlights or tail lights, all that kind of stuff, but with those ones, they are just so bold compared to the rest of the car. I would consider maybe a very light, tasteful tint, if you know what I mean. And speaking of tints, those rear windows do deserve a tint. I'm not saying murdering out the car or anything, but definitely they could do with a tint. Really, really cool car. Like it very, very much. Thank you to Julian for entering it, and congratulations to his dad for owning such a nice car. Let's get on to the next one. Another black car that's been sent in by Dylan. This one has gone for the murdered look. It's a 2007 1.6 litre Seat Leon. It's actually Dylan's first car, which is really cool, and there's a few modifications that have been done to it. So it's got a Cupra front bumper, a Ram air intake, it's putting out 120 brake horsepower, it's got the FR seats, a custom gear knob, a custom exhaust tip, aftermarket brake calipers, and painted wheels, as well as tinted lights. I also see there's some window flexes on there as well that were mentioned in the email, and I think that front grille looks aftermarket as well. It looks like it's lost the Seat badge. You can also see here in the interior he's sticking it up quite heavily, as well as actually on the back window there's a Rockstar Energy sticker as well. Now, thinking of some of those modifications for a second, that rear exhaust pipe is massive. You can see it there, it's absolutely huge, and it makes quite a big noise as well. Let's talk about it from my perspective for a second. I do like the car in black. It looks really good. I also like the badge delete on the grille. I think that is really cool, as I mentioned. I like the blacked out rims as well, and the fact that the exterior of the car generally looks quite OEM and quite clean. You've done a really good job of not making the car look at all ricey on the outside, in my opinion. It looks kind of like it should be that way. I'd say the exhaust tip does look a bit overly sized, but I actually prefer my exhaust to be slightly more tucked away, but again, that's such a personal preference thing. In terms of the interior, I'm not a huge fan of the gear knob. knob, I think that you can get slightly nicer ones, so I would suggest maybe looking at one of the motorsports gear knobs instead, or the entire gear shift with the boot as well. There's some really nice ones out there that would properly complement the stickers that you've got on your dashboard to look a bit more racy. I know it's just to modify the car and make it look nice. I just think the 8-ball one is a bit overused, but again, opinion. The FR seats are sick. Big fan, love it when people put nice new seats in their cars, and those FR ones are really cool. I'd like to hope they hold you in the car quite well as well. And what I really do like about it is the fact that you have really put a lot of your personality into the car. So ignore my points around the 8-ball and the exhaust pipe. You can see that you've definitely put yourself into this car, and I really like that. Some suggestions I have for you. I don't like the middle part on a Seat Leon's dashboard, that sort of really over the top grey colour. That can definitely become carbon fibre. It'd be quite a difficult job, but if you could wrap it in carbon, that would look quite nice. You could then complement that with some more carbon bits throughout the car, and that also kind of complements the rear exhaust pipe, which looks carbon to me. I may be wrong, but it looks like you've got red rear calipers and grey front calipers, so maybe get the front ones painted red as well, just so it matches, or whatever it is that you want to make in terms of their colour. And this is again another one that you could definitely tint those rear windows. It's blacked out, it's murdered. You gotta have some nice blacked out rear windows as well to kind of compliment that, I guess. Overall, really good job. The kind of thing that a young person would really aspire to, and I'm a major fan of what you've managed to achieve there. Thank you very much, Dylan, for entering. On to the next one. Now this car comes from Rob, who is a long-time follower of me on Instagram. Spoken to him a couple of times about this car before, so hopefully I do it justice in this video. It is his absolutely stunning 2005 facelift Mini Cooper S. Now a bit of backstory to this car. He bought it about 5 months ago after his other car, which was a Mini Cooper non-S, had its clutch blow up. He decided to go for this Mini because he really likes the Mini community and thinks that they're basically street legal go-karts. I definitely see where he's coming from. It's great to have a car where you're in a really nice car community. Already I'm thinking that with my MX-5. And it's just nice to have a car that you really enjoy driving and that you can become an expert in. So let's go through some of the modifications. He's got a John Cooper Works body kit on it, Sparco Acera Gara 16-inch alloys, Toyo Proxys CF2 tyres, and it's sitting on Stance Plus coilovers. It does look quite high in the pictures, and that's because he's letting them settle. They've only been on for a week. I want to bring up the point as well that he painted the Toyo and the Proxys on his tyres as well, which looks really cool. And coincidentally, it's something that I'm doing to my Polo as well for a future video. In terms of the engine, he has a larger intercooler by M-Tech, as well as a Teflon coated supercharger, a 17% reduction pulley, and a K&N induction enclosed pod filter. Underneath the car it has a Hornet exhaust which has 4-inch tips, and some other clear mods as well as the sun strip from Luxworks, the rear seat delete as well because apparently they weigh an absolute ton, Alcantara pillars inside, as well as a Harman Kardon sound system. In the future he'd like to roll cage it, put bucket seats in it, get a harness in too, have a new sound system, get the John Cooper Works dials, and eventually maybe turbo it to get to around 450 to 500 brake horsepower, which would just be absolutely ridiculous. Also looking at getting a new racing steering wheel for it from OMP. And in terms of reliability as well, which is really great to see how much information he's put into this email, he's done 2 wheel bearings, a CV boot, a rocker gasket, and HT leads in a coil pack. The key thing is everything he's done on this car has been done by himself with a couple of friends. He's never paid for a garage to do any of his work for him. Now this is a super clean looking car. It looks really good. I think the colour combination really works with that grey and then the black rim to kind of make it pop. Because it's an OEM body kit as well, it looks really nice rather than looking too ricey or looking like you've gone for some next fast car magazine kind of nonsense. I also really like the rally lights, which I know come as standard on those cars in many cases, but yeah, they do look really cool. And as an overall, what I think I'd say about this car is it looks like you've come up with some kind of idea in your head of what you wanted to achieve and you've gone out and achieved it. It wasn't like you had a mod, you threw it on, you had another mod, you threw it on, and then you had another mod and you just threw it on. Then you just end up with this whole bunch of random mods. This is something that looks like it had a concept behind it, and I think it looks really cool and it really shows. The points you've made, I agree with. I also think that those would be great for taking it out on track. Obviously, I assume that's what you want to do with the car. If you do want to take it out on track though, I've heard that there are much better coilovers in the Stance Pluses, but they do get quite a lot more expensive, so I understand why you'd go for those. I also really quite like those chrome caps on the wing mirrors. I'd like to see what it looked like on Photoshop if they were black instead. Also, if you decide to black that bit out, you might want to black out the rest of the bits that are also chrome, so dechrome areas around the lights. And outside of that, I'd maybe consider looking to get some more Alcantara on the inside because you've got those Alcantara pillars. Maybe get some brakes on it, that's another point. Get some good racing brakes on there, but outside of that, really good. Thank you very much to Rob for entering. On to the next one. The next car on the list is another first car. It comes from Mack and it's a 1.7 diesel Vauxhall Astra. So when Mack bought this car, it was completely stock and he got it to basically do a long distance of driving in the mornings to and from work. Hence he went for a diesel over a petrol. He installed a K&N cone filter, which seemed to increase the power very slightly and gave it a bit more go in second and third gear, as long as a nice little whoosh sound when changing gear and letting off the throttle. He wanted a bit more noise out of the car, so he got a catback exhaust with no silencer. and it was still quite quiet, so he decatted the car basically. He also went about spraying numerous parts of the car, including the engine bay. He did some dechroming and did a couple of bits on the interior as well. There's not much else that he's done to the car right now, but in the future he's got a few things he wants to do, including lowering the car, restoring the front headlights, tinting the rear tail lights, get some VXR alloys in the car, get the car sprayed a shade darker than violet, and put in some window flexes as well. He then wants to rebuild the engine and look at doing some performance parts. Apparently he's got a stage 3 turbo kit. Then he wants bucket seats in the front, a new steering wheel. He also says he might install neons and eyelashes just to annoy me, as they are literally some of the worst modifications I think you can do. Now I do like that you've taken a hands-on approach to the car and you just jumped straight in there and started doing work on it, and you've got a lot of plans for the future. Really, really cool. I think the painting on the engine looks nuts. That's really mental. I think the blacked out bits do look really good. I think the car will look even better if you do manage to get it sprayed in that dark shade of violet that you were talking about. I would consider more than maybe just the VXR alloys. Maybe look at getting a VXR body kit on there. Maybe not a full kit, but at least maybe some bumpers. The wing mirrors as well. They have those really basic plastic ones at the moment. You can get some much nicer ones on there, or maybe just wrap or paint your current ones. Also, rather than refurbing the lights, why not just get some LEDs in there, maybe some angel lights and demon eyes? That would look really good. Also, I'd suggest maybe getting rid of those rubbing strips and replacing them with body colored ones, or just painting those ones that are on there already. Thank you very much to Mack for entering. Exactly the kind of thing I want to see. Good luck with the rest of the project. The final car for this week comes from Will, all the way from Australia in fact, with his 2012 Toyota GT86. Now we got this car in May and it's pretty much stock, other than a K&N air filter, a billet oil cap, these really cool rear window louvers that I think are sick, a window tint, wider rear tyres, and a muffler delete as well. Will didn't give me very much more about the car, but one thing I wanted to know was it looks like it's got a different gear shifter as well. And because he hasn't told me what he wants to do in the future, I get free reign of what I want to say about this car. So number one, the alloys. I really don't like the standard GT86 alloys that you've got on there. I think they're a bit basic and there's too many spokes on them in my opinion for that kind of style of wheel. There are plenty of much nicer rims for that car. I'm more of a fan of racing style rims, so I'd look at maybe getting some OZs on there or whatever, particularly as that car is the sister to the BRZ, or the BRZ for Americans. So you got a tiny bit, not a massive bit, but a tiny bit of rallying pedigree in there. And to get a full-on racy style look, you could probably go for some more carbon fiber wrapping of tiny little parts of the car. Like that rear splitter area for me looks a little bit out of place. It should be carbon fiber in my opinion. So wrapping it so will make it feel like it's carbon fiber. If you wanted to go all out on the window louvers look, you go for window louvers on the rear window as well. I think that would look really cool on one of those. A simple one would be to debadge the car as well. Make people guess whether it is actually a Toyota or a Scooby or whatever it is. But outside of that, I wouldn't touch... But outside of that, I wouldn't touch the car too much because they have actually got a pretty decent resale value. Not amazing, they have depreciated a fair bit, but you don't want to completely ruin the car by modding it too much. Or maybe you do, maybe you don't care. Just go all out and wide body it with the Rocket Bunny kit, drop it to the floor on airbags, and boom, SEMA 2020, you're there. But no, for real, really nice car. One of my favorites actually, a car that I'm really into, and I know one of my good friends on YouTube as well called Aldes is a big fan of that car too. So yeah, super cool to see. Thank you Will for your application all the way from Australia. Really appreciate the international support. So I hope you enjoyed going through those 5 cars with me. If you did, remember to hit the like button as it really helps out the channel. Remember to check the description if you want to enter your car or a friend's car or whatever. Remember to also vote on your favorite using the poll. And let me know in the comments your thoughts about these 5 cars as well. A massive thank you to my patrons who should be in this corner of the video right now. Really appreciate the support. Expect another top 5 video next Friday. Let me know some ideas for it down below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more weekly car content. But as always, thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next one.